Hello, I'm Lori Lane Zucker, founder and president of Impact Entrepreneur, and we're here at the Mission Investors Exchange Conference in Los Angeles, and I'm sitting with Bruce McNamer from Builders Initiative. Well, welcome, Bruce.
Thanks, Lori.
Bruce, first of all, before we talk about Builders Initiative, tell me a little bit about your background professionally.
Well, as for many of us, I think if I look backwards, it all makes sense. But as kind of sort of on my way there, it was sort of finding my own way. But I actually started my career in finance, but I followed that in maybe an unusual way with a stint in the Peace Corps, where I lived in a very poor village in rural Paraguay, working on basic things like sanitation, but also working with farmers, smallholder farmers, and helping them think about access to markets using the kind of business experience I'd had. Very formative experience for me. I went on to work in the private sector for many years, but then got a chance to run an organization called TechnoServe, which is a nonprofit, works in the developing world in Latin America, Africa, India, connecting smallholder farmers to markets and helping entrepreneurs in very poor places succeed with their businesses. And so I've always had this interest in the marriage of how do you sort of help people help themselves in a very profound and sustainable way, which is access to markets and business skills. So I went from TechnoServe, got into philanthropy, ran J.P. Morgan Chase's philanthropy, ran the community fund in Washington, D.C., but then had a chance to join Builders Initiative about 5 years ago, and I can talk more about that, but the punchline here is our mission is shifting markets and minds for good.
Please tell me more and tell our audience more about Builders Initiative.
Yeah.
Why was it founded?
Yep.
And what does it do?
Yeah. So Builders Initiative is the philanthropic arm of Builders Vision, and that is Lucas Walton's family office. It's our impact platform, and where my colleagues and I, again, are focused on a mission that is shifting markets and minds for good, but deploying all the tools and different types of investments in different asset classes to do that across various themes. So one is healthy oceans, one is sustainable food and agriculture, energy and climate equity, and again, thinking about the various capital requirements required to make a difference. So on the market rate side of the house, we're investors in venture capital, in growth equity, in real assets. We invest in public markets. We invest in funds for market returns, but for impact. And on the Builders Initiative side of the house, again, it's a bit of a microcosm of that, in that, of course, we're making grants in those areas, but our endowment now is 90% invested for impact. And we also have a kind of call an impact or catalyzing capital LLC. That is not tax advantage money, but it's money we're investing to catalyze development of markets with very early stage companies, with funds that are investing in these spaces. So very high risk, but potentially very high impact.
So Impact Entrepreneur is always interested in how early stage businesses are being capitalized. What is your approach to capitalization? I understand that you are advocates and practitioners of blended finance. Can you describe how you look at the continuum of funding for early stage businesses and how you approach it yourselves?
Yeah, I would sort of distinguish like where in the cycle we invest from blended finance, because we do a little bit of both. So very often I'll take what I described as our catalyzing capital pool, where we are looking at seed stage, very often Series A investments in companies or in fund development at a very early stage. So we may be a first-time fund. It may be a company that has some proof of concept, but has yet to be able to go to market, has pre-revenue, again, in these thematic areas and investments there. Now, that's early in stage. We may be the seed or Series A. We may follow on with Series B, and then at that point, exit. And in fact, in some instances, that exit for us, or the continuation of a relationship, has been on the other side of the house, on the market rate side of the house, where our venture capital colleagues may pick it up and run with it from there. I'd also say that we do blended finance in the true sense of the word, and that we may be in for, say, a loan guarantee with respect to a particular broader financing, or a letter of credit, or broader credit enhancements where we can put in your grant or low or concessionary capital to encourage the investment or backstop the investment of market rate investors.
Well, so we're here at Mission Investors Exchange, which has been a tireless advocate for the kind of movement of investors and or funders, philanthropic funders in impact investing. Where where do you see philanthropic mission investing right now, and where do you think it is evolving to, or at least needs to evolve to in the future?
It's evolving quickly, or it's been slow and then quick, I would say. I mean, when the first PRI was, I think, in 1968. And then there were PRs, PRI. But I think the kind of momentum around mission-related investing out of the endowment, broader kind of thinking about the purposes of the endowment and ways that you might invest it for impact. I just see that, it's maybe not quite so one Mission Investors Exchange conference to the next. It seems to have a real momentum around that. And I think increasingly in the family office context, families thinking increasingly about how do I think about investment as a tool for the impact in a context that, heretofore has been like, we do our philanthropy over here, we run our business over here, we do our investing and our asset management here, and now actually a more of a notion like we would have that like you can align a lot of those, that broader set of assets around impact.
So bringing philanthropy under the same strategic umbrella as your private use of private capital.
Or the other way around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Great. Well, Bruce, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. I really
Pleasure.
appreciate it.
All right, Louis.
Bye.